Hi. So today I am going to be ranking a whole bunch of popular book talk books that I forced myself to read. Some of them I was genuinely interested in, some of them I was like, I know I'm gonna hate this, let's see how far I can get before I just can't go any further. So without further ado, let me just tell ya what I read. Okay, here's all of the books. Ah! That wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, here's half of the books, and here's the other half of the books. Yeah, okay, let's get into this before any other dramatic things happen. Starting off in no particular order, we have We Hunt the Flame by, I don't know how to pronounce that and I'm not going to attempt to do it, but I do follow her on Instagram. And yeah, this book is 5 stars. It deserves all the hype. It's inspired sort of by different Arabian lore, and it's a very enjoyable fantasy read with some enemies to lovers if you're into that. Yes, 5 stars. Next we have Lore, which is a twist on Greek god mythology. Every 7 years, the gods are turned into mortal form, and if you are a part of one of these destined bloodlines, you have the chance to kill the god and claim their powers. And it was an interesting idea. The execution wasn't really there for me, so 4 stars. Worth a read, just not necessarily totally up there. More books just fell. Next we have The Inheritance Games. This book, I absolutely loved it, and 5 stars. It's sort of a twisty read, and it honestly reminded me a lot of The Westing Game, which is also a 5-star rating, by the way, just throw that in there. And the sequel is coming out in August of this year, I believe, and I can't wait. So yes, 5 stars. It's got intrigue, it's got clever protagonists, it's got murderous rich people. Yeah, you should read it. Next we have The Great Gatsby, except it's in illustrated form, and okay, this is 5 stars just simply because of how beautiful all of the illustrations are. They're just absolutely gorgeous, and I want to recreate them all. The color palette, amazing. And yeah, I tried to read the actual novelized form back in the beginning of quarantine, so March 2020, and I didn't get very far, but now that I actually understand what's going on because I read a simplified version, 5 stars. But yes, 5 stars for beautiful illustrations and great general plot. Next we have Delirium. Ooh, shiny cover. And this is one of those YA novels, dystopian novels, that was super popular like 10 years ago. I never read it. I was like, better give it a shot. And you can see the bookmark is how far I got into it before I gave up. I did not finish this read, but it was like 2 stars, I guess. There wasn't anything wrong with it. It was just kind of boring. The basic general idea is that love is a disease and it's banned, and you get this medical procedure. So naturally the protagonist starts to fall in love. So it could have been executed better. If it was written in the present day, I have a feeling that we would have gotten rid of some of the more boring tropes. And 2 stars. Moving on to This Savage Song by Victoria Swab. I hope I said that right. And this was hands down 5 stars, maybe 6 stars. I really liked this book. So it takes place in a city that's divided into 2, and it's ravaged by 3 types of monsters, and the north side and the south side take 2 very different approaches in how they tackle these monsters. And it was a really fresh read. I really liked both of the perspectives of the characters, and I was not bored at all when I was reading this, so 5 stars. Next we have Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart, who also wrote We Were Liars. We Were Liars is definitely much more well known. I wasn't able to find a copy, and so I read this one instead, and I'd give it like 2 stars, maybe 1.5 stars, because there was no plot, like, at all. It was just like a collection of tales about this girl and her best friend, and it's kind of in different chronological order, and it's kind of like trying to tell you like the mystery of what's going on, but it ends up just feeling like a collection of small short stories, and there wasn't like an overarching theme. I finished it and I was just like, that was it? Like, I expected like something else. I don't know, but just, yeah, 1.5 stars if that. There Will Come a Darkness. This book I would give 4.5 stars. The reason I'm taking off 1/2 star is just because there were some points that were a little bit confusing and cliche, but overall really good fantasy series. It has a prophecy, which I'm neutral towards that trope. So it has a prophecy, and basically it's like these people either have the power to destroy the world or to save it based on how they use it. And so obviously that creates some conflict, and we get some really cool protagonists out of that. 6 Crimson Cranes. 5 stars, 6 stars. This book is amazing. It's got some Asian representation, which we love to see. The cover work is beautiful, and I want to read a lot more from this author because this book was amazing. So it's a retelling, sort of. Actually, that's not true. It's not a retelling of a fairy tale, but it feels like it is, which is really cool. Maybe it is a retelling of some obscure fairy tale that I don't know about, but overall it's really cool. It's got a princess, a dragon. I'm reading off the back of the cover now, so that's kind of cheating. But 6 enchanted cranes and an unspeakable curse. So, magic, fantasy, woo! Yes, this book, you should read it. I'm so good at describing things, honestly. Okay, The Cruel Prince. This is the book that got me deciding to read all of these books. And it took me not 1, not 2, but 3 tries to get through this book. And so for that reason, I give it 4 stars. I ended up enjoying it. I'm currently working on the next book in the series, and I'm expecting to like it. Everyone was hyping it up so much, I just couldn't get past the first couple of chapters. I just was like not feeling it. I was just not feeling it, but I eventually just like sat myself down, was like, you're gonna read this, and I ended up enjoying it, so maybe there's a lesson to be learned there. And lastly for today, we have Blood Heir by, I really don't want to mispronounce her name, but I do follow her on Instagram, and she has, let's see, I think the 2nd or the 3rd book of the series just came out, I don't remember, but this book was really cool. It's about a princess, and she has this gift to manipulate people's blood, which is kind of, I don't know, an interesting concept. And she is in exile, and she needs to find her father's killer. She needs to find her father's killer, and so she ends up teaming up with this rogue crime lord, sort of, if you will, con man, and they go from there on a lovely adventure. So 5 stars.